Hey, you guys, I hope you guys are doing well. I am back with another video, and I want to talk a little bit more about Wendy Williams. I talked about her in my previous video regarding her upcoming biopic on Lifetime and how she is going to dive into very personal details around her life. Of course, her drug abuse, her philandering husband, and also something that I talked about is that she is going to talk about this assault that she said happened to her in the 90s with this man that she was really into, this R&B singer named Sherrick. And she alleges that he assaulted her. Now, Sherrick he died in 1999, and his widow recently came out and is questioning why Wendy would go ahead and basically say this when he is not here to defend himself. But I wanted to talk mostly about what I saw on Tommy Williams' YouTube. Tommy Williams is Wendy Williams' brother. And they most recently lost their mother, I would say maybe not even 2 months ago, somewhere around there. Shirley Williams died at the age of 83. Now, when that happened, Wendy had came out and said that her mother had died weeks prior to that. Remember on her show when she said that? The brother said, well, no, she had died literally days before Wendy got on the show. So that was just a little interesting. But I took it as that Wendy felt like maybe if her mother was incapacitated, because we really don't know how she passed. It's honestly not our business. But I took it as maybe she was so incapacitated, Wendy felt like her mother had passed on long before she physically left this earth. So I was watching Tommy Williams, and he has a video on his YouTube channel called My Mom Is on My Mind. He basically calls out Wendy for not attending her mother's funeral. And he also says that her father is hurt that she did not go. So I'm going to play a little bit of the audio for you guys. Go ahead and listen into this.
I don't understand how a person can miss out on giving a salute to the one person who's always there, who always shows support. I don't understand how a person cannot go to a funeral and hold up the one person or the family member that you do have, the parent that you do have left, and just move on and keep it moving. I don't understand that. I don't understand how to keep loving somebody who could cause that kind of pain.
So I'll end it there. He was really emotional in this video. So instead of having a lot of dead air, because obviously you guys can't see it, he's kind of fiddling. He's in his car. He's kind of fiddling around. The connection is not very good, which is why it was a little fuzzy at times. But for the most part, I'll just kind of sum up what he said. He basically says that Wendy Williams did not attend her mother's funeral, and her father is very hurt by it. Kevin Hunter did, in fact, come to his mother's funeral, and he's very hurt by it. Okay. So he was feeling some type of way. Now, to be fair, though, I was watching a video of his prior to him making this one, and he was just praising the movie. He was saying how good this movie is going to be. So I just think he was in his feelings about it. I mean, that's how grief works. Grief, you can never count on grief to just come when you think it's going to come. It can come whenever it wants to come. And I just think he was feeling some type of way. And it is clear that he feels strongly about his sister not attending their mother's funeral. And so I ask you, now, this should, in all honesty, we know things like this, these should be private matters, right? This is between family. But Tommy did put it on the internet, and the internet picked it up. Several blogs are now posting it. So now that it's public, everybody has an opinion, right? And so I'm asking you, how would you feel if a sibling, your sibling, did not attend, your parents' funeral, if you would feel some type of way about that? Now, everybody deals with grief very differently. So I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I just don't. I could see where he's coming from, right? I could absolutely see where he is coming from if they felt like they needed to lean on their sister for emotional support. But maybe, just maybe, Wendy wasn't emotionally able to do that. I can imagine, I know she was close to her mother, and I can imagine just how difficult that was, because I remember how difficult it was for me. Okay. That day was difficult. I've lost both of my parents, but I lost my mother first several years ago. And I distinctly remember the day of her visitation. I did not go to her visitation. I have a very small family. It was just me and my father. My brother he was incarcerated at the time. And I didn't go to my mother's visitation because I couldn't see my mother in that box. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And so the day of the visitation, I'll tell you what I did that really got a lot of people upset with me. I took my daughter to the movies, to the show. I took my mama took my little daughter to the show. And for me, it was about trying to make things as happy for her, because I knew the next day she was going to have to go to her grandmother's funeral. And I was trying to just have a little bit of happiness for her, even though I knew what I had to do. And I got several phone calls that day. I got several text messages like, where are you? Why are you not here with your dad? I had already told my father that I wasn't coming, and I told him why I couldn't see my mother. I didn't want to see her lying in that casket. I knew what they had dressed her in because I picked it out. I told them exactly what to do. My cousin called me and said, your mother looks great. And I left it at that. I didn't want to see her. And even the next day of her funeral, during her wake, I wouldn't even go up to the casket and see my mom. I never laid eyes on my dead mother. Okay. Even the funeral director was like, do you want me to close the casket, during the wake? I said, no, because I know, Black folk, they want to see the body. I was like, no, I'll just go. And I went in the hall. I went like in the little lobby area, and I was greeting people, but I never laid eyes on my mother. All right. So in that regard, maybe Wendy couldn't do it. I know it sounds bad, like not going to your mother's funeral, but maybe she couldn't do it. Wendy has struggled with substance abuse. She's basically teetering on sobriety all the time. Maybe she just couldn't do it. Right? So I definitely see both sides here. I see how her brother could certainly feel and be upset about the situation, but I also understand that everybody grieves very different, and some people just can't do that. They cannot look down in that box and see their loved one. I would love to hear from you guys. Have you ever had an experience like that? Maybe there's a sibling that didn't show up at the funeral and didn't come, right? Or maybe like I said, everybody grieves differently. But like I just told you guys that I didn't show up to my mother's visitation. I just couldn't do it. And I got chewed out by family members because of it. They felt like I was wrong for not coming. And I did feel a little guilt about that. I absolutely did, because I felt like I was leaving my father, but I knew that he had all his brothers there. All his brothers were there. They were kind of laughing. And I heard that everybody was just being kind of jovial during it. And it wasn't necessarily a sad time. I just knew that during a visitation, the casket is open and the family is expected to basically sit there and greet all these people and hug all these people. And I just couldn't do it 2 times. I couldn't. I knew I had to do it on the day of. And I promise you, I just was like, I can't do this today, though. And so I felt like the best thing to do was to just provide my daughter, who was really, she was so close to my mother. I just felt like I needed to provide some happiness just for a moment to her. So we went to the show. We went to the show and we saw, I don't even remember what was playing. I think it was a Lego movie or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I just remember we didn't go. And I don't regret that. I don't regret it because I felt like I had to do it and I needed to do it for her. And I wasn't ready either. Even the day of, I remember like looking for my shoes, like I was going to be late for the wake. And I felt like maybe I had deliberately kind of sabotaged, like losing my shoes that morning because I didn't want to go. I really didn't want, and who wants to go? Like, I'm just saying. So, I see that her brother is hurt. And I think that, losing a parent, especially when it's fresh, it's going to be like that for a while. He's going to feel a type of way about it. And hopefully him and his sister can heal from that. And hopefully Wendy's father and her can come together and have some sort of healing too, because he does need that support. He's it, right? Him and his wife have been together all those years. And you know what they say when the old people, when they die, one of them die off, sometimes the other one can't live without that one. So they need to support him and lift him up, keep him lifted up, and make sure he's okay. So I don't know. I don't know about this one. I just think there's no wrong answer here, but I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Chime in, y'all.